Wisdom, wisdom, be attentive.
Wisdom, wisdom, be attentive.
Wisdom, wisdom, open our hearts.
Wisdom, wisdom, open our hearts.
In our conflicts and chaos,
open our hearts.
In our struggles and strong will,
open our hearts.
In our pride and our passion,
open our hearts.
Oh, wisdom, wisdom, open our hearts.
Wisdom, wisdom, be attentive.
Wisdom, wisdom, be attentive.
Wisdom, wisdom, open our hearts.
Wisdom, wisdom, open our hearts.
In all of our doubting,
open our hearts.
in all of our choosing,
open our hearts.
in all of our searching,
open our hearts.
oh,
Wisdom, wisdom, open our hearts.
Wisdom, wisdom, be attentive.
Wisdom, wisdom, be attentive.
Wisdom, wisdom, open our hearts.
Wisdom, wisdom, open our hearts.
When we're tired and closed-minded,
Open our hearts.
when we think we're the wiser,
Open our hearts.
when we can't hear our calling,
Open our hearts.
oh, wisdom, wisdom, open our hearts. Wisdom, wisdom, be attentive.
Wisdom, wisdom, be attentive.
Wisdom, wisdom, open our hearts.
Wisdom, wisdom, open our hearts.
awesome. Well, if that wasn't a reason to wake up in the morning, I don't know what was. Welcome back, choir. Our choir had a little, I know I'm not allowed to call it a retreat. They had a workshop weekend, and you are sounding amazing. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Welcome to Emerson Unitarian Universalist Congregation. My name is Reverend Deborah Bennett. I sound a little echoey. How are we doing up there? Good. Welcome, everybody. Special welcome to anybody who's joining us for the very first time. We are a Unitarian Universalist congregation, and that means we ground our faith in the idea that every individual matters, that we honor the inherent worth and dignity of each and every person. We also honor the interconnectedness of all of us and all of life, and we honor every person's individual search for truth and meaning. So we hold the idea that wisdom comes from many, many places. And this month, that's one of our themes. We usually pick a theme each month, and we kind of wrestle with the theme a little bit. Given who I am, I usually kind of approach the theme in a way one may not expect. But that's what happens. Last week, we talked about awe, which is not technically listed as one of our 6 sources of faith, but I really named it as something that's primal in all of us, this idea of awe, and how we can use that as a spiritual practice. Well, today we're going to take that even a little deeper and talk about the spiritual practice of intimacy, what I like to call in-to-me-see. Does that sound scary? It should. If you are not scared by that, you do not understand the concept, but I will explain it later. Have no fear. Did I mention my name is Reverend Deborah Bennett, and I am the minister here, and it is a joy to be here as always. Welcome to all of you online. Hello, hello. We're so glad that you are here as well with us. Now, choir, I want to tell you something. I know you were all on your retreat last week, but these folks out here, they did amazing singing. Shh, it's our little secret. What they don't know won't hurt them, so we're going to go with this. Okay. So, since they did so amazing last week without you, we don't technically, need you, but we want you. So isn't that better? Who wants to be needed? We want it to be wanted, and we want you, don't we? We really, really want you. And we want to all sing, though, together. So I'm going to invite us to begin our morning together by rising in body or spirit. We're going to come sing a song with me. It is hymn 346. Keith, are we going to have slides this morning? We're working on the slides. Hopefully it's going to be up here too, but otherwise it's in that gray hymnal beside you, 346. Choir, thank you for being here. We do need you, but, but we want you.
Good morning. My name is James Poteet, and I'm the lead advisor for the Cobb Gay Straight Alliance here at Emerson. I extend my welcome to each of you. I'm so glad that you're here. Each Sunday, we light our chalice as a symbol of Unitarian Universalism and our commitment to be a beacon of love in the world. Today's chalice lighting words are adapted from American musician Michael Tilson Thomas. Music is most difficult to write when it concerns intimacy, which is the most difficult emotion to attain and the most difficult to sustain.
Emotion?
And now, in the spirit of love and of the beloved community, let us greet and welcome each other to this new day as we share our congregational affirmation, we need not think alike to love alike. Feel free to move around the sanctuary to offer your greetings, and those online may use the chat or unmute to say hello.
We had been on a path toward racial justice that was amazing. There was the Civil Rights Act, the Voting Rights Act. We were at a tipping point. We're 50 years later now. Once again, America is having to look at issues of race dead in the eye, and once again, we are at a tipping point. And the question for all of us in this room is, what are we going to do about it?
Well, I'm walking and talking with my mind.
If I make the statement to you, America was founded on white supremacy,
I'm walking and talking with my mind.
you could say, Jeff, that's an extreme statement. And what I would say to you is, don't believe a word I say about it. All you have to do is go look.
Slavery had nothing to do with the war because they were treated as family.
I don't know if he can be reached, but if no one tries, he definitely won't change.
Lynchings took place in this very spot. Everybody needs to know what happened because it's a part of our history, American history.
With your mind on freedom.
America has demonstrated its greatness time and time again, and America is one of the most racist countries on the face of the earth. Those two things are not mutually exclusive.
Well, I'm singing a shadow with my mind.
Virginia passed a law, an enslaved person's death while resisting a master is not a felony. Would you look at those words, please, and think about the videos you have seen in the past 10 years?
Shots fired!
It's still not a felony.
Sing hallelujah.
We want all Confederate memorabilia removed from our city.
We have to save other lives.
It's just too big of a story.
Hallelujah.
We had been on a path toward racial justice that was amazing. There was the Civil Rights Act, the Voting Rights Act. We were at a tipping point. We're 50 years later now. Once again, America is having to look at issues of race dead in the eye, and once again, we are at a tipping point. And the question for all of us in this room is, what are we going to do about it?
Well, I'm walking and talking with my mind.
If I make the statement to you, America was founded on white supremacy,
I'm walking and talking with my mind.
you could say, Jeff, that's an extreme statement. And what I would say to you is, don't believe a word I say about it. All you have to do is go look.
Slavery had nothing to do with the war because they were treated as family.
I don't know if he can be reached, but if no one tries, he definitely won't change.
Lynchings took place in this very spot. Everybody needs to know what happened because it's a part of our history, American history.
With your mind on freedom.
America has demonstrated its greatness time and time again, and America is one of the most racist countries on the face of the earth. Those two things are not mutually exclusive.
Well, I'm singing a shadow with my mind.
Virginia passed a law, an enslaved person's death while resisting a master is not a felony. Would you look at those words, please, and think about the videos you have seen in the past 10 years?
Shots fired!
It's still not a felony.
Sing hallelujah.
We want all Confederate memorabilia removed from our city.
We have to save other lives.
It's just too big of a story.
Hallelujah.
And this is who we are in America.
Hallelujah.
I want to say this is Black History Month, but it's History Month. Here in America, it's History Month, and there are those powers out there who are trying to strip us of this history, and it's not just now. It's happened in our entire lifetime. Next week on Saturday, we have a movie, starts at 4 o'clock, and it is profound. And it caused me to think about the words that we sing each Sunday. Love is the doctrine of this church, the quest for truth. is its sacrament, and service is its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge and freedom. To serve humankind in fellowship, thus do we covenant with each other, thus do we promise to each other. We have an opportunity next Saturday to get some truth. I got to tell you, this particular documentary is powerful. It will move you. I guarantee it will change you. I would love to see as many of you as possible come out. We'll have a movie. We're going to sit and discuss it. We're going to get open and talk. We're going to have some food too, am I right? We're going to eat. So the Justice team here at Emerson has taken this opportunity to present this program to you next Saturday. Please come out. Please show up. It is, I guarantee you, a life changer. Thank you.
Thank you, Ed.
Good morning. I'm Susan Ullman, a member of our Emerson Pastoral Care team. Let's pause right now, reflect on our joys, sorrows, and concerns, and light candles of care to honor them. The 3 large white candles over there represent our collective joys, sorrows, and concerns, including honoring the Cherokee and Muskogee nations of people, indigenous people who lived here before us, African Americans wrongly enslaved here, and hope for a peaceful end to conflicts across the globe, especially the crisis of war for the people of Ukraine. We have many to hold dear, including the many, many thousands of people who died in Syria and Turkey with the earthquake, and those who were injured and still dying, and their families and all their loved ones. Let's hold them in our hearts. Each Sunday you are here, we invite you to light a candle of care over at the table in honor of whoever you're holding in your heart. If you're online, we invite you to light a candle nearby. Keep it nearby to honor who you hold in your heart also. Please feel free to write a joy, sorrow, or concern in this book, which is kept over there on the clear podium. We'll read it. And thank you, Reverend Deborah, for lighting our candles today. With our hearts open, let's hold these sorrows and concerns. First, from Karen Anderson Cordova, my husband Mark's son, Michael Barnes, passed away unexpectedly Tuesday the 7th. Please keep Mark, me, and our family in your hearts. Karen, you have our condolences. And from the Bieber family, Norma Bieber, wife of Don Bieber, who's now deceased but was a choir member for many, many years at Emerson. Norma has died. Please keep the Bieber family in your thoughts and prayers. From Reverend Deborah, it is with deep sorrow that we share the news that our beloved 20-year-old kitty Zeus, aka Little Man, has left his body. Zeus brought our whole family so much love for so many years. He is deeply missed. I'm so sorry, Reverend Deborah. From Judy Griffin. Judy Griffin is home recovering from pneumonia, bronchitis, and exacerbation of asthma. Please keep her in your heart so she can get off the couch soon and come back. And then I have an announcement by Art Wickman, please. A sorrow.
This is to announce that the celebration of life for Jenny Hobson will be Saturday April 22nd. In order to attend either in person or online, please use the Evite. And that Evite is a little bit hard to find, but it is located at the very most end of this week's notebook in the section Joys, Sorrows, and Concerns. So it takes a little bit of looking if you have to know that it's there to find it, but it is there this week and next week. So thank you.
Thank you, Art. Surely joys, sorrows, and concerns remain unspoken. So please say out loud or type in the chat whoever you're holding in your heart today. Cheryl, my neighbor. Now, in thankful awareness, let's say the Buddhist prayer of loving kindness. Please repeat the words after me. May we all be filled with loving kindness. May we all be filled with loving kindness. May we all be free from harm and suffering. May we all be free from harm and suffering. May we all be well in body, heart, and mind. May we all be well in body, heart, and mind. May we all be at peace. May we all be at peace. Blessed be.
Thank you, Susan. And it is time for a story. So if you are young or young at heart, I have a little story for you. Please come down. I have a little prop for my story, so let me find that. Oh, goodness, let's see. Oop. Yes, here we go. All right. Hi, everybody. So I have a question for you. What's something you love to look forward to in the spring? Oh, that might be too much of an open-ended question. Let me ask it this way. How many people love in the spring when the flowers start to pop up? Yes, remember that time? Are you starting to see them now? Have you seen a few flowers? Not yet? Look outside. Yeah, a little bit. There's a few out there. Well, this is a story about a little girl named Zoe who loved in the spring when the flowers popped up. Now, Zoe lived in this nice little house, and outside her house, there wasn't a whole lot going on, but there was this big lawn. The lawn didn't have very many flowers, but on the other side, just at the crest of the hill, there was a beautiful big open space that had many, many, many wildflowers. And every spring, Zoe would wake up in the morning, and Zoe would look out her window, and she'd think, is it day? Is today the day? Is today the day the wildflowers are going to pop up? How many of us feel that way in the middle of winter, right? Is today the day? When is the wildflowers going to pop up? And over, there weren't any, and there weren't any, and there weren't any. But one day, Zoe looked out, and sure enough, across the field, the flowers had popped up. And Zoe said to her mom and dad, oh, I want to go pick some flowers. Can we go pick the flowers? And they said, okay. So they got on their little boots and got on a little jacket, and they went across the field. And when Zoe got near the flowers, Zoe was like, oh, Mommy, look at that red one. I want the red one. It's so amazing. So Zoe went running right up to the flower because she was going to pick it, and the flower bent over, just like that. And Zoe's mom said, that's not a very good flower to pick. Why don't you pick some of the other ones? And Zoe got sad and was like, okay. So she picked some of the other ones, but she kept looking back at the little red flower because she really wanted to pick that one. But they went home, and Zoe did other things. And the next day, Zoe got up and looked out her window, and she said, Mommy, look, the red flower, I think it's back up. Zoe's mom was like, I don't think you can see that from here, but okay, we will go and we will pick the flower. So guess what happened? They go running over, and Zoe gets close to where the wildflowers are, and she goes, and she's like, I'm gonna pick that wildflower, and she runs up to it really fast. and down the flower goes. How'd that happen?
Magic?
Yeah. Good answer. When in doubt, it is always the answer, please note. Zoe got sad again, and her mom's like, we can pick some of the other flowers. And Zoe's like, yeah, but I wanted the red one. I need that red flower. Do you know how it is sometimes when you don't get what you want, how it makes you want it even more? This was happening to Zoe, and she's like, but I want that flower. So her mom convinced her to go home, so they went home. Yes?
I know why the red flower keeps on going.
Shh, let's keep it a secret. At the end, I'll let you say it, okay? But for right now, we're gonna keep it a secret. All right. So the next day, what do you think happens? Yeah, Zoe didn't even barely tell her mom. She just got up in the morning, she put on her shoes, and she went running. She thought, you know what? I'm gonna sneak up on it this time. So she went to the back side of the field, and she's sneaking up, and she goes to grab the flower. What happens? Go ahead and try to grab it.
It bent over.
Oops, sorry. Yes. I let you see some of the magic. The flower bent over again. Zoe went home crying. Guess what happened in the middle of the night? The flower pops up. Well, the next day, her mom says, listen, Zoe, I have an idea. Let's pack a picnic lunch. And let's just go out. And instead of trying to grab one of the flowers, let's just look at them for a while. So Zoe and her papa and her mama, they pack a picnic lunch and they go out and they spread out a blanket and they sit down about 20 feet from the flowers. And Zoe looks over and sure enough, that little red flower is there. And her mama says, don't even look at it, just look over here. So she did. She said, every once in a while you can glance at the flower, and so she did. And her mom said, now take a look at the flowers. What do you notice? And Zoe said, well, there's a lot of colors. Her mom said, yeah, what else do you notice? What do you think you notice when you look at a whole bunch of flowers? She said, there's a lot of different shapes. Yeah. A lot of different sizes. Yeah. They kind of all look really nice all there together, don't they, Zoe? Zoe said, yeah, they kind of do. And at that moment, she felt like the little flower started to nod its head. So he's like, Mommy, that flower just nodded its head at me. Maybe it agrees. So Zoe said, I'd like to get a little closer. And Mama said, okay, go a little closer. Just a little bit. And so Zoe did. So I walked a little closer. The flower bent down just a little bit. And Zoe looked at the flower, and the flower looked at Zoe. And so I said, you are beautiful. And the flower nodded. And Zoe said, I'm not going to pick you. And the flower nodded. And so Zoe sat, and the flower sat, and they had a very nice day just looking at each other. And Zoe and her mommy and her daddy and her papa all went home with their picnic basket and had a very good day. What do you think? All right, how'd the flower go down? What happened? Do you want to say?
So, the way how the flower is going down, it's because it didn't want to be picked. And it wanted to be like the scare the person away because plants are good. That's fun.
And that is the magic. That's true. That's exactly how the flower went down. See? It's very much agreeing with you. Let's sing our song together. Thank you, Bruce. Thanks, James. It's your turn now. Go ahead.
I love that prop.
I'm not a prop, I'm a flower. You're the prop. I'm sorry, is my mic on?
Oh, goodness. So this is supposed to be the centering moment, which means I probably should get centered. But I do want to invite everyone now into a time of centering. Find a comfortable position and take a few slow, deep breaths. And allow your eyes to soften or close as I offer these words of the Celtic poet and mystic John O'Donohue. What you encounter, recognize, or discover depends to a large degree on the quality of your approach. Many of the ancient cultures practiced careful rituals of approach. An encounter of depth and spirit was preceded by careful preparation. When we approach with reverence, great things decide to approach us. Our real life comes to the surface, and its light awakens the concealed beauty in things. When we walk on the earth with reverence, beauty will decide to trust us. The rushed heart and arrogant mind lack the gentleness and patience to enter that embrace. As you think on these words, take another deep breath. And if your eyes are closed, you may open them now.
Have you ever noticed how art changes depending on how you look at it, how close you are? I have a favorite piece of art. That taught me some great lessons about approach and about intimacy. It's in one of my favorite places to visit in Western Massachusetts, a place called the Clark Art Museum. Perhaps you've been there. It's in Williamstown. Much like the High, it's home to an amazing collection of art. And one of my favorites is this piece called The Geese. This isn't it. I asked the Clark if they would lend me that piece for this sermon. For some reason, they didn't get back to me yet. But The Geese is this classic Monet painting. It's soft, dare I say blurry. It's a soft scene of these geese in a puddle, playing in this little puddle with a pathway and a house, and adult and some children. It's a simple piece of visual art, but one of the things that it taught me was about approach and the great art of revealing that which is concealed. Let me explain. You see, on my first visit to the Clark, I went with a friend, and we did what most people often do in art museums. We wandered through the maze of rooms and galleries, looking at the various paintings and objects. And we lingered now and then at something that caught our attention, but mostly we just kept moving because there's so much to see. But on my second visit, I went by myself, and I found myself returning to that painting of the geese. It had been one of the ones I had paused at on my last visit. This time I wanted to get to know it more, so I decided to walk right up close to it. To get real close, I wanted to really see it, so I figured up close was the way to do that. And as I stood with my eyes and my nose inches from the painting, where's Millie, before the gallery people told me I was too close, I focused on all the brush strokes. Just a bunch of brush strokes. Kind of looked like the colors were placed there very haphazardly. Truthfully, it seemed a whole lot less impressive up close. I mean, really, to the untrained eye, it was just some random dabs of paint. But then I backed up a bit, and I moved to the right, and I moved to the left. And interestingly, the scene seemed to change as I moved. The light seemed to reflect off the water differently depending on where I stood. Even the people seemed to be in motion. I couldn't tell if they were coming towards the geese or away. I stepped in closer, wanting to see it again, but that magic went away, and so I continued on. But I remembered that painting, and so on my next visit, I decided to not get so close so quickly. Instead, I walked into the gallery. I didn't look at the geese right away. I positioned myself further away from the room, and then I turned to gaze in the direction of the painting. After a moment, I approached it slowly, noting the distance and the angle where it seemed most alive. And I took a seat on a bench about 10 feet away from it, and I just sat there. And I allowed the painting to simply be without my need to examine it. And very soon, a tear came to my eye. And I began to feel this intense connection to those geese and to the children and to Monet himself. The light shimmered on that puddle of water in a new way. The children moved, and that blurry image came into focus. And an entire story came to life. I was fascinated by what I saw. And I pulled out a pen and a paper, and on that day I wrote this poem. It turns out we are not meant to be looked at up close. Step too near to a Monet or a Renoir, and you see the brushstrokes, the haphazard splashes of color seeming of little sense. But step back, for a masterpiece awaits. Colors take on meaning, lines soften to blend definition and purpose. The soul of the thing emerges and tells a story as unique and precious as the tears it brings to your eyes. We are not meant to be looked at up close. On that day, I realized how often we mistake closeness for intimacy in our relationships. We may look closely at another, but how often do we actually see them? And how often do we allow them to see us deeply? Closeness is easy, but intimacy, the ability and willingness to see and be seen, now that's something else. Now we all remember the beginning of those relationships, right? Before you look too closely. When you saw that person for the first time from a distance and they were magnificent. You felt a budding connection and a hope that in this new person, a deep desire to be truly seen and truly loved would finally be achieved. And then wanting to share intimacy, you begin to tell each other stories of your life, staying up late into the night, right? Night after night. And at first, everything you see in them, you love. And everything they see in you, they love. And all they do is so amazing and cute. And they think all you do is so amazing and cute and you know what's coming. The day comes and you start to look up close, don't you? And you begin to notice all those brush strokes and what seems to like haphazard splashes of color, and your awe begins to fade just a little bit, doesn't it? Not so impressed anymore, you kind of feel this urge to inform this new friend, it could be a friend or a lover or spouse, that, well, it would have been better if you would have done something different with that shade or adjusted the perspective a little bit. And after a while, you start to feel that, well, since you have been up close for so long, it is your responsibility to inform them that, well, maybe they got the entire medium wrong or the canvas is the wrong size. You assure them you're only trying to help and advise that they take your input because you are so close to them. Unlikely to acquiesce to your suggestions, too often the opposite of intimacy arises, doesn't it? Yes? And instead, defensive barriers begin to be built, and soon you both retreat to focus on the many daily tasks that you've created in your lives together. Your hopes for deeper intimacy fade or just put on the shelf. Maybe when the kids are older, or that project is complete, or we retire, or we die, then we will have time for intimacy. But our desire to experience intimacy, I don't think ever truly disappears. Not completely. For the truth is, I think we're hardwired to seek connection, to truly be seen by others, and to experience into me see. We want to be seen. The great author of Celtic wisdom, John O'Donohue, is one of my favorites. He wrote often about this desire. I want to share a passage from his book, Anam Cara. Are people familiar with that book? It is literally like, if I had to pick like the one book, it is the one book for me. He says this, he says, in the early Celtic church, a person who acted as a teacher or companion or spiritual guide was called an anam cara, or a soul friend. It originally referred to someone to whom you confessed, revealing the hidden intimacies of your life. With the anam cara, you could share your innermost self, your mind, your heart, and this friendship was an act of recognition and belonging. And he continues, he says, in everyone's life, there is a great need for an anam cara, a soul friend. In this love, you are understood as you are, without mask or pretension. The superficial and functional lies and half-truths of social acquaintance fall away, and you can be as you really are. Doesn't that sound beautiful? Does everybody want that? Yeah, you can raise your hand. Who wants that? Well, I love this idea of soul friend, someone you can share your innermost self with. Now, O'Donohue is a master of beautifully crafted words, and when I read him, my whole being just says, yes, heck yeah. But where are these friends? You may ask. How do we find them? Surely they must be something special about that person who's able to do that. Right? Well, of course you know the answer, right? Soul friends, those with whom we can share deeply and create intimate connections, are, dun dun dun, right here. Look to your left, look to your right. We just have to take the time to learn the fine art of the approach. Now, in every relationship we have, there's always those moments of decision, right? Stay with me here. You know what I'm talking about. There's these moments. You know what these moments are. You're in the middle of a conversation with a friend or a phone call with a relative talking about the weather or whatever. or you're having a fight with your partner, or maybe you're even making love with your partner. It doesn't matter what you're doing externally, but there's those times where those moments arise and you can feel it. It's like there's this potential for a deeper connection. It's like right there with you, and you have to decide, am I going to open in this moment and let you see into me? Or am I going to stay safe and keep you safe? And we're going to just keep on talking about the weather and get through this moment. Nice to see you, Mom. I'll talk to you next week. Bye. Has anybody done that with a parental figure on the phone? Stayed shallow, talked about things? Has anybody not? Because I would like you to come up and speak. Because we often brush over these moments as quickly as we can until that urge for intimacy fades. And who can blame us? Because it is scary, right? Those real moments are scary. Intimacy is a scary proposition, especially if we end up in a fight with someone else, right? But interestingly, I think fights and disagreements are our greatest possibility of a place for intimacy to emerge. Because when we're in that fight or that disagreement, our emotions are stirred, right? Usually our old wounds, our traumas, they're just like right there on the surface. And it's then that we have the opportunity to let down our guard, to expose ourselves. It's a very short distance from frustration to tenderness in those moments if we allow ourselves to go there. And I know that is a very big if, because even in the best of circumstances, intimacy can be a challenge. So I'm going to offer you 3 questions that I hope will help you in those moments when you feel that potential for intimacy is right there. So the first question I'm going to invite you to ask yourself is, am I at a good distance for intimacy in this moment with this person, right? Just like fine art, we are not meant to examine too closely. This can refer to literal closeness, but also emotional distance. Too close, we shut down, but too far away, we can't be seen. The same is true of ourselves as that art. And it can take some experimentation with each relationship. No two are alike. What is the right distance here? When is a good time? What opens or closes us? My best friend and I have been doing this dance for years because when we get together, I often want to jump in right to the juicy stuff and ask her deep questions and really go there because we usually go there. But I want to do it like, hi, Pin, how are you doing? Da-da-da-da-da. And usually when I do that, she's like, I'm fine. Life's good. Here's some news. What's the news for you? Right? You know that information exchange conversation? But I discovered over time that if I give it some space, usually a nice lunch and a bottle of wine help, but that's different. But just give it some space. Take a walk. Let that energy sink in. Let us sink into each other. I find that all of a sudden we do enter into these really deep conversations. And she's one of my most intimate friends in terms of being able to share so much with her. Without giving away too many intimacy secrets too, my husband and I have that as well. We have these ways that we've decided, okay, when the candles get lit, when the music goes, it's time to shift. Like, how do we shift and create space? Right? We're going to create space to have a deeper conversation. But it's different for every person, so it's finding what you and your partner or you and your friend need to create the conditions. Am I at the right distance for this approach? The second question is about the effect our words and our actions have and how they impact that possibility. So the second question is in these moments is to ask is, will what I'm about to say or do open us or close us? Right? Because at any time, we're either moving towards opening or closing. We're rarely static in anything. And the words we use have effect. Are they inviting the other into me? Or are they telling them, stay over there? Right? When you tried to patiently explain to them how you were right and they were wrong, did that open them or close them? Darn. Right? Keep in mind that your words and actions are either contributing to or pushing away intimacy. And I think this is always, all the time. And the third question I'm going to invite you to ask yourself is a very personal one. Can I handle feeling being seen in this moment? Can I handle it? If I have not learned to see myself, chances are I'm not going to be able to handle seeing another or letting another see me. We are not meant to be looked at up close. Step too near to a Monet or a Renoir, and you see the brushstrokes, the haphazard splashes of color seeming to make little sense. But step back, for a masterpiece awaits. The soul of the thing emerges and tells a story unique and as precious as the tears it brings to your eyes. We are not meant to be looked at too close. But how many times do you miss your own beauty and meaning because you're right up there? Who goes to the mirror and does this? Right? Other people don't look at you that way, people. Right? We look at ourselves literally and figuratively so up close. We see all the brushstrokes, we critique the color, and we miss the soul of the thing. We must learn the art of intimacy with ourselves if we are to have it with others. And when we can't do that, it's okay, because there'll be more moments and more opportunities. We don't always have to be open and vulnerable. Intimacy is the ability to see and to deeply see another. It's one of life's greatest gifts. When we approach with reverence, great things decide to approach us. Our real life comes to the surface, and its light awakens the concealed beauty in things. It is in the light of our intimate connections that we are changed, and we know that. Think of those relationships you have where you have allowed yourself to be seen, where you have bravely seen the other, and think of how they have changed you and altered you. May your approach to yourself and to each other always be gentle, and may you find many, many soul friends. Thank you, my friends. I'm going to invite you into just a moment of reflection as we get ready for our anthem. So if closing your eyes works for you and you want to just take a moment to center yourself, to reflect on your own intimate relationships, reflect on those that have made a difference in your life when you were brave, when you said yes to intimacy. As you're ready, you can open your eyes.
What time is it?
For us most to grow if we let them, and we help them in return. Well, I don't know if I believe that's true, but I know I'm who I am today because I knew you. Like a comet pulled from orbit as it passes the sun, like a stream that meets a boulder halfway through the woods. Who can say if I've been changed for the better? Because I knew you. I have been changed for the It will make me that we will never meet again in this lifetime. So let me say, for because so much of me is made of what I learned from you. You'll be with me, like a handprint on my heart. And now whatever way our stories end, I know you'll have me written mine by being my friend. Like a ship come from its mooring, out of the sea, like a seed dropped by a skybird in a distant wood. Who can say that I've been changed for the better? Because I knew you. Because I knew you. I have been changed for good. And just to clear the air, I ask forgiveness for the things I've done you blamed me for. But then I guess we know there's blame to share, and none of it seems to matter anymore. Who can say if I've been changed for the better? I do believe I have been changed for the better. Because I knew you. Because I knew you. Because I knew you. I have been changed.
Tissues were placed strategically around the sanctuary for those in need. I listened to the rehearsal and I'm like, oh, come on, really? I'm going to be a blubbering idiot. I think I'm supposed to say closing words now. Remind me, James. Last week I kind of made a mistake. Yep, closing words. Ah, that was so beautiful. This is from Arnie Garborg. To love a person is to learn the song that is in their heart and to sing it to them when they have forgotten. So may we each commit to learning the song of others' hearts. May we sing it often, and may you invite others into you to see. Blessings. Oh, we're going to sing. I'm sorry. You're thinking of my little kitty. Okay, we are in the teal hymnal, and up here we're going to sing When Our Heart is in the Holy Place, because it is in a holy place. Please rise in body or spirit and let us sing our final song. Thank you for being in this holy space together. Our board secretary, Eric Scowls, going to give us a few words.
Good morning, Emerson. So I'm Eric Scow, the Secretary of the Board of Trustees, and as you can see in your little, in the order of service, we got a little board handout today that list our board members and positions, as well as on the other side you can see that the Board of Trustees will be in the library in the second hour if you have any questions. You know, the board is voted in by the congregation at the annual meeting, and the board has the authority per the bylaws to act on the business and programs of the congregation, limited by those bylaws. So if you're interested in some of those details or how Emerson's structured, how Unitarian Universalist churches are structured, please come and ask us in the library at second hour. Thanks.
Thank you, Eric.
Thank you. We hope you have been nourished in heart and mind by our worship this morning. If you want to know about Unitarian Universalism or our congregation, please stop by the welcome table outside the sanctuary and join us next week as Reverend Deborah and friends share with us a conversation among saints. Although we did not pass the basket today, we invite you to support this month's partner organization, which is the Link Counseling Center, and our ongoing work here at Emerson with a donation as you are able. Baskets will be stationed in the back of the sanctuary, and there are collection boxes around the building. Also, remember that our Epicurean Episodes fundraising is ongoing. There are a few spots remaining for these events, so don't miss your chance for food and fun with friends. You'll find details in the notebook. As our chalice is extinguished, please join me in the final words. We extinguish this chalice, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts and out into the world until we are together again. Join us for refreshments in our fellowship room on the first floor near the back doors. Those online may join virtual breakout rooms for fellowship time at the conclusion of the service. And last week, Richard Fuller reminded me of something important, and that is to please enter the fellowship room from this side and not from the side of the kitchen. We appreciate you and your being considerate. Today's refreshments are provided by the Board of Trustees, and as we mentioned earlier, if you would like to meet with members of the board and learn more about their work, you can join them for their second hour session beginning at 11:20 in the library, which is room 124, right over this way. Service reflections will also be offered here in the sanctuary for those who wish to share their thoughts on today's topic. Classes for children and youth also begin at 11:20. Last thing, we are blessed by the recent addition of so many wonderful people to the Emerson family. If you are interested in becoming a member, the all-in-one membership class is being offered today from 11:20 to 2:30 p.m., and lunch will be provided. Thank you.
Awesome. Go now in peace and take peace wherever you go. Thank you, everyone.
the music of Julie Stein. Oh my God. He's like, so many people like, I mean, unless you're into music, people know him, but a lot of people are like, I don't know who she is. I'm like, oh my God. Clearly, Sweet Charity. A lot of really good music. Are you familiar with the music from Barnum?
I've seen it. I might recognize it.
Yeah, one of my favorites is The Color of My Life. The color of my life is bound to shine. The deepest colors